Hey guys, entertain this thought with me, if you will. Just picture this. It's the middle of the night. In fact, it's midnight to be exact. And you are, more than likely, you're asleep. Maybe you're up, you're binge watching a show. I don't know. But there's this rap at your door. And you get up and you go to answer it. And it's a familiar face. Not only that, it's actually a welcomed face. It's somebody you haven't seen for quite some time. And you embrace as you invite this individual into your home. And because you're a good host, and because you can actually tell this person actually looks famished from their journey, they look like they're wearied, you want to put out this spread before them. And then all of a sudden, your mind reminds you, you don't have any bread. You have no food whatsoever. Your pantry is completely empty. You've got nothing to set before this individual. But that's okay, because you have an opinion. So you pull up 2 chairs, one for you, one for your guest. You invite your guest to sit down as you go into great detail concerning your opinion about how bread is made. You go into detail about the ingredients and how they go into and how they play into creating this mouth-watering masterpiece. In fact, not only that, you had a sandwich earlier that day, and you also can't help but to share your experience with said sandwich and what different kinds of breads pair nicely with different kinds of meats and cheeses. I know that sounds ridiculous. Of course, there's not one of us that would sit down and tell somebody who's hungry what our opinion is about food. At least I hope not, because whoever that might be is not interested in hearing about our opinion. They want a full stomach. They don't want to just hear about bread. They want to eat it. They don't want to just hear about your experience with it. They want to have one their own. And I think this is what has happened greatly in the church, is we have settled for our opinion about things. We have settled for what it is that we know more so than what it is that we can actually demonstrate. And I will tell you this, I am not interested in talking about my theological stance when it comes to miracles, signs, wonders. Because here's the deal, guys. Either we have bread or we don't. That's it, period. Like, it doesn't matter anymore how much we talk about things or what our opinion is. In fact, the world is tired of what our opinion is. The world is starving for an experience. They're wanting to have an encounter with God. And either we have that to give or we don't. I don't want to just settle for previous moves. I don't want to just settle for my opinion about it and whether or not God can do these things. Who cares, like, what our opinion is? The world is tired of watching us bicker and fight over such things. In fact, Paul goes out of his way in his first letter to the Corinthians in chapter 4, verse 20, and he makes this comment. He says, "The kingdom of heaven is not a matter of talk, but it's one of power." And that power is demonstrated in the person of the Holy Spirit, the third member of the Trinity, the third person of the Godhead, because the kingdom is righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Spirit. And it's demonstrated and lived out by His presence upon us, in us, and through us. And the promise from Jesus to the disciples before He ascended was, you will receive power. Here's the conclusion I've come to, and maybe this is just me. Jesus could perform no miracle unless the Holy Spirit was upon Him. You heard of Jesus of Nazareth, whom God anointed with the Holy Spirit and power. You say, yeah, right, but He's Jesus. No, He came and He emptied Himself and He became a man. He emptied Himself of who He was, and when He came, He was an ordinary man. Of course, the fullness of deity dwelt in Him because He was conceived by the Holy Spirit, but He didn't do what He did as God. And He did what He did through the power of the Holy Spirit. He performed no miracle. You guys know that until He was baptized in the River Jordan by John, came up out of the water, Holy Spirit lighting upon Him. That's when ministry began. The true ministry of the disciples began after they received power in that upper room. Here's the thing that really shook me yesterday. Jesus said, "The things I do, you'll do and more." And can I tell you something? Those disciples did it. And I want you to know there are things I've seen. I am not downplaying that, and I'm not tooting my own horn. It's all because of the grace of God. I have seen things happen. I've seen healings, great healings, miracles, but I'll tell you this, not to the extent that they did. And I believe that I am not walking in what Jesus was walking in. I know I'm not. Let's just stop playing the game. Let's stop having an opinion. I'm not walking in what the disciples did. But He said, you will receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you. So it's my conviction that I have not received the same level of baptism in the Spirit that they have received, that they had received, but I'm wanting it. Why? Because I owe it to the world to demonstrate it, to demonstrate the gospel, to introduce them to God, because they are starving for what only the Holy Spirit can give, for what only the Holy Spirit can produce through you and I. And it comes through yielded, surrendered vessels. So let's stop playing the game. Let's ask, seek, and knock until it's ours. Again, if we're not walking in it, let's wait for it. Guys, I pray that this video encourages you. I pray that it fires you up. And I pray that you guys are courageous enough to share it and get the word out. And of course, if you're watching on Facebook, but it's available on YouTube. We have our very own Faith Like Birds YouTube channel. Take a moment, go subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, and turn that notification bell on so that you receive notifications when we put these videos out on a weekly basis. Love you guys. I'll see you next week.